All right, welcome back to the AM show. Let's do our big stories today. And from yesterday, you've seen one trend coming in from the northeast region concerning the Boku conflict and what its impact has been on surrounding communities and districts. You heard of what's happening in Nalerigu there. Let's delve deeper into that particular matter and bring in the Northeast Regional Minister who has been confronting this head on. Ibrahim Tia is the Northern Regional Minister. He joins us on the line with Mondays. Grateful to you for joining. Now, as we speak this morning, how is Nalerigu, Boku, and the environs? Do we still have Ibrahim Tia there?
I think he has to unmute so we can hear him. Okay. Mr. Minister, can you unmute for us so we can hear you? Okay, I don't think we can.
So I'm sure he will work on it, and then we can go to him, because we do understand that the students there, schools have closed down, so the students are being evacuated. What is happening with that particular evacuation, and in terms of
Yeah, and we also know that some of the political actors and those who speak, newsmakers are saying that it would make no sense to bring children into that area as we speak, which is why the students have been evacuated. And we want to engage Ibrahim Tia. He is the Northeast Regional Minister. I want to find out from him, first of all, and I don't know if we still have him on and if he's unmuted and whether or not he can hear us. Mr. Ibrahim Tia, can you hear us loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Okay, great. So we can hear you, but it's a bit faint, so you can up your volume for us. And we want to find out, as we speak this morning, before we go surgical with this conversation, how are things in the Northeast region?
Good morning to your cherished listeners and to all Ghanaians and the good people of Northeast region. I think the situation is relatively calm on the ground with the enforcement of the curfew. Oh God. Sorry. There are calls intruding into my phone. That is why. Are you with me? Hello?
The volume is very faint, Mr. Ibrahim Tia. I'm not sure if it's from my end, but backroom, please help us out here. Can we take
good morning.
It again?
Is the line clear now?
Yes.
Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I said yes. When the incident happened, we had a meeting with all the headmasters and the security officials to see how we could handle the situation on the ground. So we've evacuated all the students who are not from the area back to their families, especially those from Nalerigu Secondary School, and the school has been closed down. The nearby secondary schools, we've deployed enough security there. Where there are no threats, there's no need closing down the schools. Where there are no potential threats, and we've asked the headmasters to do a background check for us to see if there are potential threats, then we find a way of handling it appropriately on the ground.
So you're saying, as of this morning, no student is in the Nalerigu, Boku and its environs right now. They've all been evacuated.
No, yeah, for Nalerigu specifically, that is where the incident happened.
Yes.
So right on Sunday, that school has been closed down because of the traumatized nature of the students. We had to close down that school and then to watch the situation carefully. But the other schools around where there is no problem, we managed to get those whose lives were endangered to move out of the place safely to their destinations. And I think everything has been calm as of now. And we've deployed enough security to all the institutions within the region, more so within the Nalerigu enclave.
Root cause of this whole development. What is the RECSEC doing about it?
Yeah, RECSEC met. We met yesterday. We looked at the situation, and then we engaged most of the youth groups in the town to see how we could calm down the situation on the ground, whilst the curfew is ongoing. And the citizens are cooperating very well with it on the ground.
But that doesn't deal with the root cause of the whole thing. There should be something that triggers this development as we do get from Boku and its environs, regularly. And I'm asking, what are you doing to tackle that particular root cause of this whole thing we do see? Because this is a result of a cause.
Yeah. This particular incident started as a result of the killing of a student in Boku Secondary School. That brought about this reprisal attack in Nalerigu Secondary School. But however, tackling the root cause is just the mediation process that His Excellency has put in place that is ongoing. So I also think that, yes, the two parties involved would reason with why we shouldn't be losing lives and then get back to the mediation process, then discuss the issues there, and then it's a win-win situation so that at the end of it all, peace will prevail. And I think that is the only process that can restore the situation. And now that they are deploying security on the ground, I think this situation will also be under control, and we'll see how we can work out. We can move through this turbulence.
Well, once you met yesterday, I'm sure you had briefing on what exactly led to what happened at that Nalerigu school. What did they tell you? What caused it?
That is what I'm saying. Based on what we are hearing on the ground, there was anytime there's an attack in the northeast part of the region, it's as a result of attacks in the Boku. A student was killed in Boku Secondary School, and that brought about this retaliation in the Nalerigu Secondary School. That is what we gathered, and that's what we picked on the ground. So that is the situation, and we are working on it. We are trying to see how we can stop it because we've deployed enough security to all the campuses across the schools in the region.
Has anybody been picked up yet?
Not yet. What we heard, the briefing that we took from the headmaster and the regional director of education was that these were gunmen masked who came into the school, did the shooting, and then give warning shots and took off around 1 a.m. in the morning. Before the headmaster could be informed, before the security could be informed, these people had already moved away on their motorbikes.
So is it your briefing that the people who committed this understand or know that the boy who they killed at Nalerigu is associated with the killing at Boku Senior High School?
Certainly this we can't tell.
Okay.
Because these are students who are there. So once that they are not even alive, you can't even dig into the bottom of the matter.
Do we know the parents of this boy who was killed at Nalerigu and who they are?
Yeah, they are from Upper East region, nearby community, closer to Garu. So when it happened, we got the bodies prepared, and then we got the families, and we sent the bodies for burial on the same Sunday.
Okay.
We know that in the Ashanti region, where we saw the killing of the Kusasi chief, they've put some strict measures preventing motorcycles because that's where the incident, sort of started from. Is the Northeast region thinking of adopting such a measure?
Yeah, as you recall, there's already a curfew that is in place, which you are aware.
Yes,
and the
from
curfew
2 p.m.
is
to
there, so
6
that is what we
a.m.,
are
yes.
enforcing as at now. Yeah, and the situations are not the same.
Okay, so has anything changed? I mean, beginning this week, we understood that government has stepped up efforts from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. What differences have we seen in this past 2 days since that strategy was enforced? Mr. Ramtia, I don't know if you're still with us, but I'm trying to find out if something's changed now.
Interruptions from, I'm using my phone. There are interruptions coming on my phone, that's why.
Okay, that's okay. We can bear with you. So I'm saying that what has changed since the move or the upgrade from peacekeeping to peace enforcement as part of measures from this government to step up security there? And I might just add that yesterday I listened to Colonel Festus Abuaji. He's a retired security analyst on PM Express, and he thinks that this government is being reactionary when it comes to the conflict in Boku and, now that is spiraling to other parts of the country. How would you respond to that? But first of all, I really want to know if something has changed.
Nalerigu used not to be under curfew at all. Nalerigu used not to be part of the conflict area, not at all. It's just this incident that has happened. So the dynamics are quite different. They are not the same. It's just the killing of these students that has brought up this issue that Nalerigu has come into the domain. So with Colonel Festus Sabuaji's assertion, yes, he's a security expert. I am not. I am only the regional minister. But I think that, yes, what he's saying, well, the security experts will analyze it and then maybe speak to it. But from my point of view, yes, if situations like this happen and then national security comes up with a situation like this on the ground, certainly we just have to look at it and see how we can apply the rules on the ground and see how we can manage the situation and go out of the turbulence. This is an ongoing issue. It didn't just start today. It's now that Nalerigu is coming into the domain. So I think, yes, with this, by the measures that they have kept in place, at least between now and tomorrow and getting to 2 days, I think where the situation will be under control. Even as of now that I'm speaking, everything is under control in the region, especially in Nalerigu.
So what you're saying is that since the implementation of this peace enforcement and the curfew from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m., things are relatively calm in Nalerigu and its environs.
Naturally, human beings as we are, there's no way that you enforce restrictions on them and there will not be reaction. Certainly. Even as you are talking to me now in your own room, if they ask you to sit there from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the night, certainly you will react. Maybe if it is by your own evolution, certainly you will not react. So it's normal for certain people to react. But I think relatively everything is controlled, everything is peaceful on the ground.
Let's talk about the impact this has on the students. And Kojo will come in right now. But I mean, have you been able to figure out how these students will continue getting access to their education now that they've been evacuated from the original places of study?
Yes.
Are you onboarding them to another school? Yeah. What's the plan?
No, the situation is we are working around. Some of them are going to write exams, and then we are trying to see what the situation will be on the ground between now and the end of the week. And then maybe we'll review it accordingly to see how we can get the students who are going to write. If there's the need for them to send them to other schools, fine. If there's the need for them to come back to their mother school to write, we will look at that situation again and then make those recommendations.
In terms of businesses that are operating in the area, we know some banks, left because of the issues in the Boku area. In Nalerigu, are there any sort of support for businesses operating in the area so as to ensure the continuity in keeping jobs safeguarded?
Like I mentioned earlier, the situation in Nalerigu is entirely different from Boku. For Boku, the guns are firing almost all the time. Okay. Securities have been attacked left, right, center. In Nalerigu, there's nothing like that incident there at all. It's just the killing of these students that have brought Nalerigu into the domain. Okay. So they are entirely complete different situations together. So we can't compare them together.
But we've deployed military into Nalerigu, not so?
Yeah.
And I'm asking, this military we've deployed into Nalerigu, do we have some of them giving some sort of protection to businesses just in case?
Oh, yes, certainly. Because they are there to protect life and property. And then once that is going on, yes, I think businesses will go on. But just that the curfew hours have to be observed. And then I think this one is a measure that we are watching to see. Okay. And certainly, if the situation improves, certainly it will be reviewed.
So you're saying that in Nalerigu, no business has shut down because the situation is different from Boku, right?
Certainly, the Boku issue cannot be compared to that of Nalerigu, like I mentioned much earlier. For Gambag and Nalerigu, it is just this incident that has brought Nalerigu into the domain. Boku, it has been there for years. So it was just a Sunday incident that brought Nalerigu into the domain. So, like I mentioned, the situation is completely different. And based on where we are sitting, once the situation is brought under control, I think life will go back to businesses and everything will come back to normalcy.
Please hold for us. We want to engage the PRO of Ghana Education Service, Daniel Fenyi. And Daniel, let's talk about how crucial this time is for the students who've been evacuated with WASSCE exams staring them in the face. What is the cardinal value of how soon we can put them back into the classroom?
Indeed, let me admit that this situation is very, very difficult for us, especially at the education sector. Forgive me if I'm not able to delve into the technical security issues.
Yeah.
We are much
It's okay. Want to
focused on the
focus on
education.
education. You're fine. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So the first is that all the students have been evacuated thanks to the government. And so when we recorded the instances of deaths, we quickly needed to step in and make sure human life is first of all protected, because they would have to be alive before we even think of writing the WASI examination. WASI should be starting in a week time, especially with the practicals. And so we are hopeful that in the course of this week, hopefully by the close of the week, we should be able to know what exactly can be done to help our students write the WASI examination. The assurance I can give to all parents, all stakeholders who are affected or following the issue closely is that these affected schools and students will write the WASI examination. There will be no disadvantage to them. They will not be denied writing the examination, and they will be supported in every way possible in terms of provision of support, counseling. It is coming to our attention that, and we have observed that some of the students are even traumatized. So, because they have firsthand seen the shooting of their own friends, the death of their own colleagues who they started Form 1 with. And so it has sent some fears down their spine and gotten them traumatized. Meanwhile, they are almost a week away from writing the WASI examination. So we are strengthening counseling services as well for both the students and the teachers to help them gain some mental, emotional stability as they prepare to write the WASI exam. So as the Honorable Minister mentioned, we are still discussing this with all appropriate agencies and bodies. This whole incident have connections with security, have connections with education, and several connected units. So we are in touch with all the affected stakeholders, i.e. the Regional District Directorate of Education, Regional Ministry, the Regional Minister, the Ministry of Education. We are in touch with all of them to ensure that by the close of this week, we are able to ascertain whether the school campuses are safe for the learners to return and write the WASI examination, or we get them a more safe and secure center elsewhere for them to write. We are still having conversations around these discussions, and by the close of this week, we should be able to come out with clear-cut centers, venues where our students can write the WASI examination. We are not only the Form 3s, we are equally thinking about the Form 1s and the Form 2s. Frankly, they are also losing some lessons because of the shutdown of the schools and all that. So we are thinking of other alternative avenues of learning where they can make up for the lost lessons. The Form 1 and the Form 2 students. We are also thinking closely about them, not only them, the teachers as well. We are looking at how safe our teachers are, because we believe they should
Mr.
be alive. They should have life.
Sorry for cutting you in, but for the exams, you say that it's 7 days away, right? And we know that once these people are going through this emotional torture, it would impact on their exams. In this your deliberation, has it ever come up in terms of you considering delaying their exams? Has it ever come up?
Yes. In fact, I can assure you that all factors have come up, because the students are our priority. We wouldn't deny them access to the WASI examination. So I can assure you every plausible avenue, every plausible alternative have come up on the table. And we are really, really discussing all options available to ensure that, first and foremost, our learners are not denied access to the WASI exam. You know, the WASI exam is quite important, not only for us to assess how they were able to grasp what they have been taught, but it's also because they need it to progress to the next academic ladder that they want to climb to. So the WASI exam holds extreme importance to both the student, the teachers, and we, Ghana Education Service. And we will go every length to ensure that these students who are affected by this conflict get to write the WASI exam. So I can assure you, every alternative have come up to the table, and we are still discussing them.
Daniel, we'll circle back to you in a bit. Let's get some response from the Northeast Regional Minister. And Mr. Ibrahim Tia, this is what the PRO for GES is saying. Is there a reasonable chance that you might want to push or influence for them to make an exception for these students? Delay the exam in a way or so? Mr. Ibrahim Tia, I'm asking if there's any chance that your machinery, your outfit can influence or push for some exception for these students who've been affected by the killing of their peer. If maybe they can delay the exam for them. They say they're considering all options, but I'm just trying to find out from you, what do you think the most important step should be for them? Mr. Ibrahim Tia, please unmute if you heard my question. Okay, I don't think we have him. And as and when we reconnect with him, we'll engage him so that we can get a response from him, because he's the minister in that area where this has happened. And so let me get back to Mr. Daniel Fenyi, PRO for GES. You're saying that you're considering all options. And in terms of the delay, possible delay or not for these students, when it came up, how did the other stakeholders respond to it? Because it looks quite harsh if you want to push these students who've just witnessed such a gory incident to go and write or sit the exam. And this exam is a make or break for them. This exam determines whether or not they get access to the universities. How are the other people involved taking this suggestion? Or how is the consideration of this suggestion going?
All right, so I would confirm to you that these discussions are quite in the infantile state. Let us not forget that some of these violent clashes happened just last week. And so a lot of these discussions are still at the early stages. And so as GES, who is open to listening to the opinions, the views of all stakeholders, we are not imposing any alternative on the stakeholders. We are rather dialoguing. We are rather having conversations. And I should confirm to you that all stakeholders and agencies related to this issue have been very cooperative and supportive. Everybody understands the depth of the issue. Everybody understands that human lives are involved. Everybody understands that the students have to be protected, and the teachers as well have to be protected. And so everybody has been cooperative and supportive, especially the Ministry of Education is super supportive to our course, the management of GES, and the regional and district director. You know, for them, they are on the grounds with the schools and the students and the teachers, and so they have been very cooperative, feeding us with the necessary information, observations they have made, and then the way forward that they feel, being on the grounds, the way forward they think is more feasible for GES National to adopt and all that. So we are still having a very open-ended conversation. We are still having a very open-ended discussion. We are very much open for all submissions, all views, all opinions, because at the end of the day, we want to fashion out the best ways possible for our learners to be able to go through this exam. I should also mention that our learners have very much prepared for the exams, just that at this point in time, because of what they have witnessed, some of them have been traumatized. And so we are looking at strengthening counseling services. You know, all secondary schools have a counseling coordinator, and all districts, I mean, most of the districts also have counseling coordinators. So we are pushing them to help salvage the situation.
Right.
Unfortunately, the students are not on campus, so it gets difficult getting access to all of them to take them through the counseling process. But their doors are very much open for students who would love to reach out, or families, not only the students, even their families as well, who would love to reach out for them to take them through some psychological processes to help them regain their mental and emotional strength to write the exams. So
Daniel, how many students are we talking about? Daniel, how many students are we talking about?
Yes, come
total?
again.
How many students in total are we talking about? Those affected?
They are in thousands. In fact, I should say all the students in all the campuses. Now we are dealing with 3 different schools, even though 2 are prominent in these discussions. I mean, Boku Senior High School and Nalerigu Senior High School, they are much more prominent because theirs is rooted in the conflict. But Zuarungu, which is not also mentioned, over the weekend, there was a violent clash on Zuarungu campus, and that also came as a result of accusations of phone theft, and that also escalated. So there are actually 3 schools involved here, and indeed, all of them, all the students there. So we are talking of thousands of learners right from Form 1 to Form 3, even though with the Form 3s, because of their special situation with the WASI, the discussions have focused much more on the Form 3 because we want to smoothly take them through the WASI so that they can graduate and go home peacefully. However, the Form 1s and the Form 2s are equally affected as well. And so we are looking at how best we can support the Form 1 and the Form 2 students as well. So though they are not on campus, just as the Form 3s, we are looking at all other learning alternatives, including either when they return to campus, we look at perhaps extending their learning hours to cover the lost periods, or if there's strong network accessibility, we could also explore online teaching and learning. As I said, we are still having conversations on every possible.
So that point has
to
already been made,
learning.
and I want us to move away from the conflict area and talk about some GES or WASI related. Kojo, unless you want to go back to
exactly, but before let's bring in Dr. Peter Ante. He is Executive Director for the Institute for Education Studies. Doc, thank you for joining us. With what is happening in Boku and Nalerigu, and now we're being told about Zuarungu, what is the best approach GES can take in assisting the students, especially those who are due to write WASI?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. Good morning to Daniel. I think that if you listen to Daniel, it's clear that there is no strategy for education in emergencies. That is how it's called globally. In Ghana, we take a lot of things for granted. We think that things are normal. So we would not have plans in anticipation of a future event that we might not have control over. So as it stands now, the only thing that the Ghana Education Service will do, as Daniel is alluding to, might be to, for the second years and the third year, second years and first years, might be to keep them, on campus after they return, and then ensure that there's an extension in their academic calendar to be able to cover what they are supposed to cover. But for the third years, it's very difficult to have a plan now. I'm told that there's going to be some evacuation, and I don't know whether it is possible to move all these students from their communities to a different community to write the exams. I think that would be the ideal situation, because allowing them to write the exams with all the police protection, it's not psychologically even good for them. You can't imagine that you are writing the exams and people are outside with guns protecting you. That atmosphere alone is not good for the examination environment. And I think that the best as at now will be to move them from their communities, all of them, to a different community where we think that there is relative peace and stability, so that they can acquaint themselves with the environment before the examination begins. I think this should be done as early as possible.
No, they have, though. They have been evacuated. As we speak, no students, and the minister confirmed to us a few moments ago that there's no students in any of these areas. Nalerigu, Boku, and all. There are thousands of students who have been evacuated.
Yes, I mean to go and put them in another community where they prepare for the exams, not for them to be in the house. I think they are in their various houses now.
Yeah, okay.
But we are looking at the final year students. Some of them are starting their practicals pretty soon. So if you're asking them to go to the house, and then when exams is due, they will have to come to the examination center with all the security around. That is what I'm looking at. It is not an environment that would give the student the psychological and emotional stability to be able to write an examination of that sort. Remember, WASSCE is very critical to the future of the child. If the student does not pass WASSCE, his forward going in terms of education and even employment becomes very difficult. And he needs a very conducive environment to be able to deliver. And as it stands now, I have not heard if there are plans to move them from the community to another community, I mean the final year students, so that they can now acquaint themselves with that environment and mingle with other students and then have some stability of mind before the exams begin. That is what I'm looking at. And I think it is something that can be done with arrangement from GES and the WAEC and other relevant stakeholders.
So it means that the earlier they move them to the environment where they will be writing, the better. Daniel was telling us that they are...
And Brace, let me make this point. You see, if there are other secondary schools that there's relative stability and there's peace there, these things are not happening. I think that within this week, the TES and Minister of Education can liaise with WAEC and then move them there so that the Form 1s are in the house. I think the Form 2s are also supposed to be in the house. I don't know whether they are still on campus, but if they are not, they are also in the house. It means that there's spaces in some of the secondary schools around. This should be done as early as possible so that the students will now acquaint themselves with the environment. Then their teachers can also go there and then engage them. And then they write the exams there. It should never happen that these students will go back to their schools and then they are writing exams and people are holding guns, protecting them. What will happen after they've written the exams and they are going home? Anything can happen. So we need to protect them. We need to do an act now.
Please hold for me. I want to find out from Daniel what he makes of that. Because Daniel, Dr. Pitanti is saying that we don't have education emergency in this country. There are no protocols in place to cater for emergency situations like this. And it would be a huge disservice to these students if they're taken back to their original communities to write the exam, whether or not we have guards or security men guarding them. How do you respond to that suggestion, to let them reintegrate? I think we're looking for normalcy, some level of normalcy for these students while they write the exam. Is that something you're considering?
Yes, let me say that. Yes, let me mention that all views, all opinions, all suggestions are very much welcome because we are, as I said, putting things together. Let me also mention that no one can prepare for emergency enough. I mean, emergency would it is an emergency implies that preparation or it took place so suddenly that plans and strategies and actions would have to be thought through immediately like that. So on that score, I would say that yes, even though the responses have been very, very strict. So, for example, these incidents happened last Saturday, and around Sunday and Monday, they were evacuated out of campus. That should be considered quite swift. Again, I think Doc mentioned that students may have to be taken to the school campuses to familiarize, acquaint themselves and all that. Very much welcome, very, very much welcome. Okay. We, however, may have to mention also that, if we link it to the BEC students, those days when we're in JHS and we have to write the BEC, sometimes we don't write the BEC on the school campus. We travel to other school centers to write them. Sometimes secondary schools around. And we do not necessarily go and stay there on the campus of the exam centers, but we're able to write the examination. Once the environment is quite conducive, once there's enough invigilation supervisors, once there's enough security, I think students are able to write. And this is even for JHS students. So I believe that even with our SHS students, if they do not even get the opportunity to go and live on the campus, which we are considering anyway, but if they are not able to go and live there, we expect that we are able to provide them conducive environment enough, examination environment enough for them to be able to write the examination. So all the incidents that we have recorded happened just last Saturday. And so for all the efforts that we have put in place as of now, I would consider them quite swift, especially with the protection of human life that we have been able to tame. I consider them quite swift. I consider the issues also as emergency issues. And globally, preparations can never be enough for an emergency.
All right.
You are forced to think through whilst you are going through the situation and all that. And that's exactly what we are doing. And as I mentioned, thanks to all the agencies involved, security agencies, the minister, the regional minister, the minister for education, and even the parents and community elders, everybody have been very supportive because they understand the gravity of the issues, and they are willing to help us take our students through this unfortunate situation.
Daniel, stay with me. We'll come back to you in a bit. So Dr. Pitanti, he says that it's a welcome suggestion. Hopefully they actually try and implement that. But what do you make of his response? They say globally, there's nowhere we have education emergencies that, are planned out adequately enough to handle emergencies, the very sense of the word, emergency situations. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think that Daniel is being accommodative, and I think it's good for the discussion.
Yeah.
He knows and he understands that in recent times there's been a lot of talk about education in emergencies. In fact, there have been studies conducted, funded by donor agencies in this country to try to look at how best you'll be able to provide education for students who are in an emergency situation. And this has been something that's been on the global agenda since COVID. Okay, so what the point is that as at now, Ghana, we do not have those protocols. We have not been able to finalize and kickstart anything on educational emergencies, and that does not refer to even the final year students. It includes the second and the first years who are supposed to also undergo education. Basically, we say that education should not stop because of an emergency situation. So if you go to other places where they have protocols, as soon as there's an emergency situation, those protocols kick in. How do you handle the students when they are in the house, when they are supposed to be somewhere, when they are displaced? All those things are, it is just like you are switching from your national grid to your private generator. It just kicks in and then everything starts rolling. We don't have that in Ghana, and that is a fact. Okay. We cannot be prepared for emergency enough. That is also true. But we think that those protocols should be finalized and we try to implement, because this is not the only situation. In fact, I've been doing reviews of violence and clashes and on instability in our secondary schools. And since January, we've recorded about 6-7 issues, including gun violence and other things in various senior high schools, which is a little bit problematic for me. So I think that we need to finalize those protocols and then ensure that as soon as there's an emergency, those protocols kick in. And with this, you bring in Sendolos because they have all the technology and everything mapped up with them. All that you need to do is to give them the guidelines as to when they would they step in when there is an emergency situation and children still need to access education. With the case being driven from their communities to the exam center, I think if they decide to let them write in different communities, they have to think through with that one also. Because you see, this is examination, and I keep saying this, the conditions around examination can either enable students to pass or fail. And that is why we say that you cannot ascribe a particular factor to a student's performance, because so many things takes place so many things determine a student's performance in an examination. So imagine I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm supposed to sit in a bus, guided by police and army, driven from my community to another community. I get there around 6:37. I have to now get prepared. Research and then sit in the exam room, and then I write. After that, I have to come and sit in the bus and then driven back to my community. Come on, these are SHS 3 students.
Right.
I think that we need to take them to the schools that if they agree that they will not allow them to write in their communities, they need to move them to the schools as soon as possible and let them integrate. Stability of study is important so that they can go to the prep like the other students are doing. They can have access to teachers like other students are doing. And then when it is time to write the exams, they wake up in the dormitory, bath, dress, and walk to the exam center. I think this is not too much to ask for us to do for this case.
All right. And he's saying it's a welcome suggestion. So hopefully they listen to this call. Now, in a letter dated, I think yesterday was when I saw the letter, and signed by the Acting Deputy Director General, Professor Smile GC, GES has confirmed that the government of Ghana had already released full funding to cover all costs related to the practical exams, including materials and resources. Daniel, I'm with you now. Yet we understand that some heads of secondary schools collected monies to facilitate whatever they need to do to ensure the practicals are conducted. In that letter yesterday, you're directing all these heads and regional directors to refund these monies back to the students. Can you elaborate more on this?
All right, thank you very much. So a quick one on what Doc said. I should thank Doc for the expert view. I can assure him that all the concerns he has raised have been documented and will be worked on. We are still engaging all the stakeholders as well, and we are documenting all the concerns so that as quickly as possible we can come out with more or less a generally agreed safety protocol measures to help our students. So Doc has my assurance on that every concern he has raised has been taken note of, and we shall take a step further on the concerns that he has raised. Now about the WASI examination and the payment of the practicals. Yes, government has released close to 16 million Ghana cedis to offset the fees for the WASI practicals. You know, the WASI is conducted on two levels. The first level is the practical for the courses or programs that have practical parts or sections. And so we are looking at general science, we are looking at agric science, we are looking at home economics. I think we are looking at the technical, vocational, we are looking at visual arts, and all those areas or programs that have practical sessions. And these practicals that is done, it normally comes with costs. And so they have to buy some raw materials, buy some resources, get some products that they can use to conduct the examination. And government believes that because these items or resources must be procured with money, he has taken upon himself to pay all such monies. And I should admit that we have also heard snippets of reports that some heads have collected monies in the name of WASI practicals.
Well, unfortunately,
I take it on a positive note that probably they didn't know or they didn't get the alert. Yes. So probably some of them didn't know, some of them didn't get the alert early, and probably some of them had to buy some of the items some months back when the money was not reduced and released and all that. So this is an official information to the heads of all the second cycle institutions where WASI would be written.
I think we we might have lost Daniel Fenyi over there, but the information there is that government has released close to 16 million Ghana cedis to facilitate the WASI practicals, and so the heads of schools and regional directors who have collected monies to facilitate that at the school level should refund these monies back to them. Dr. Peter Anti, let me hear your thoughts on this, and we have to go. It looks like government of Ghana has absorbed the cost for the WASI practicals, and so they're asking, heads of schools to refund the monies that were initially collected before the disbursements of this close to 16 million.
Yes, I think that as Daniel was trying to suggest, maybe the heads were not aware that these monies would be paid. So we will entreat them to refund the money to the students. Some of us know that these monies are sometimes also collected for other reasons, and we think that GES have given a strong indication that any teacher or GES employee found to be engaged in any kind of examination or practice at this time would not be spared. I think that teachers should respect their profession and not be used as avenues for examination or practice. And therefore, if these monies are collected because of that, I think that they should just refund it to the students, and then we should allow the students to go through the exams to show their ability and capacity in terms of what they have learned over the years. But I need to state this. I think that we should get to a stage whereby when government does their obligation, we don't like something wonderful has happened. I always feel uncomfortable when I see government has cleared capitation grants, government has paid school feeding. I think these are obligations that government is supposed to be doing. And if
Doc, I think it's so that the public will also know that these monies have been disbursed, so that those who want to, hide under that cover and take monies, their criminal activities will be brought to the light. But thank you. Those who join us for this conversation, we started all the way from Boku to GES. We had the Northeast Regional Minister with us, Ibrahim Tia, and we also spoke to Daniel Fenyi. He's the PRO for the Ghana Education Service, and he just had there Dr. Peter Anti. He's the Executive Director, Institute for Education Studies. And before we take a break, it will not be the AM show on Joy News if I don't remind you to make your dream home a reality with EcoBank. Now, you want to step into your ideal home or transform your current space into one that truly reflects your style and comfort, all with the support from EcoBank. So listen, EcoBank has once again partnered with Joy News to bring you an exciting experience at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. And this year's edition makes your journey to a comfortable, modern home even more accessible and affordable. With EcoBank's Buy Now, Pay Later, you can easily renovate, upgrade, or furnish your home to suit your taste and style. Whether it's elegant home decor, modern furniture, essential electronics like laptops and phones, or solar energy solutions, EcoBank has the right financing tailored to your lifestyle. From staying connected with the latest devices to embracing sustainable living, our flexible consumer loans, asset finance, and salary advance products are all designed to help you bring your vision to life. You want to enjoy that competitive interest rate, convenient repayment terms, and this is my best one, fast approvals from a bank that really understands your needs. Visit our stand and take the first step towards the home and lifestyle you deserve. Comfortable homes start with EcoBank. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank. Be a part of it.
Well, in this day and age where things are, hard, especially in you getting jobs, you need to do things differently. Now, are you looking to do that differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics do show that it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. So doing things differently is what would set you apart and get you employed. And that's exactly what Design and Technology Institute, DTI, is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication to design innovation, including graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, amongst others, and entrepreneurship. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson BTech, and CTVET, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere in the world. So if you are ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or call 0541 693534 for more information. 0541 693534. 4. Well, we'll take a break here. We will be back with more here on the AM show. Do stay with us.